Hi, welcome back. So we're ready to start our recipe. There's a lot of ingredients in this recipe, so I'm going to make a suggestion. When you follow this recipe, get everything measured out. I hate running around the kitchen looking for things as you're in a recipe. It's always good to have them set in front of you so you don't forget anything and you're not wasting time. We're going to start at the stove. We're going to saute some ingredients, then we're going to come back and we're going to mix everything together. Hi, my name is Andrea Anthony, and we've been making this recipe for over 50 years, and it's all about two things: simplicity and top quality ingredients. Nature's made a perfect product. There's not much more you can do to improve upon it. Perfect lunch for all kinds of dietary needs. This is such an easy recipe. Feel free to email me at andrea@lobsterroll.com, and you can always go to our website, www.lobsterroll.com. Okay, so we're putting our olive oil in the pan. As I've said before, you always want to give it a little bit of spray of your olive oil. And move that around a little bit to coat the pan evenly. Okay, so we're going to start with our garlic and shallots. We're going to cook these for a few minutes just to get them to brown a little bit. Okay, so we're adding celery, chopped very finely, red bell pepper, and green bell pepper. Okay, so we're going to mix that around a little bit. Again, we want to give that a little shake, so we want to make sure it all cooks evenly. We're going to let that brown just a little bit. There we go. White wine. Always choose a good white wine when you cook. If you don't like drinking it, you're not going to like it in your recipe. Now, once the wine's in there, we're going to reduce it for about a minute. Let it cook just a little bit. It'll also help to soften up those vegetables. You don't want them crispy. You want those vegetables kind of tender, not too crispy. These are finished now, so I think what we're going to do is let's let them cool a little bit. I'm going to put them in a bowl, and then we'll get our crab cake filling going. Now we're ready to mix. So let's start out with the vegetables that are now cooled. We're going to put those in our bowl. Okay, here we have some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. We have our panko breadcrumbs. By the way, those are not browned, they're just panko breadcrumbs out of the box. Okay, we have fresh chopped parsley, flat leaf, a little bit of Old Bay, the secret ingredient, mayonnaise, that kind of adds a nice texture, and our eggs. I'm going to mix that up. Look how beautiful that is. These crab cakes are exciting. They're not boring with all those ingredients. Exciting crab cakes. Okay, now let's mix in our crab. Now I might mention this crab, lump crab meat, has been drained and all of the moisture has been taken out of it. I always like to keep clean towels in the kitchen. Once it's drained, you want to wrap them in the towel and get excess moisture out. Otherwise your crab cakes will be watery when you put them together. Little pepper. Salt, and we're just going to put about maybe a teaspoon of each Worcestershire and Dijon mustard. Now it's just about tossing the ingredients together to make sure that everything is well combined. Looks like we're ready to make them into patties now. I'm going to get cleaned up and we'll make our crab cake patties. Now it's time to get our crab cakes assembled. Now we need some panko because we're going to dip the crab cakes, dust them in the panko, and then we're going to have them chill. It's always good to use a scoop. It kind of helps a little bit with portion, but you'll see at the end we'll have to even them out. Okay, we're going to make 6 crab cakes. What's important is that the crab cakes are evenly sized so that they cook at the same rate. Once you see that you have your even piles, then you're going to make them into patties. Now the thing about crab cakes, we're actually sauteing these. We're not going to fry them. Some people fry crab cakes. We don't do them with the lobster roll that way. We like them grilled. Okay, so make your patty, and then you're going to put it in your panko breadcrumbs, and you're going to pat it down on both sides, and you can put that back on your pan. Same thing until we have all of the crab cakes coated in panko. I like panko because it adds a nice crispy texture. I actually prefer these to breadcrumbs. I like the texture better. Give them another test just to make sure that they're even. You can pat them down a little bit. You want to make sure the inside cooks when you have them on your grill or your pan, so make sure they're sort of flat so that they cook evenly through. The outside should be crisp and the middle should be hot and tender. Now you see I'm using parchment. Nice way to do these because we're going to refrigerate them. They have to be refrigerated for at least 2 hours. So let's cover them with our parchment. And we're going to throw these in the refrigerator to chill. And while they're chilling, we'll start our homemade remoulade sauce. So our crab cakes are chilling, and now we're going to do our homemade remoulade sauce. And wait till you see how easy this is. We start out with mayonnaise, and we're going to add some lemon juice, fresh minced garlic, some sweet relish, capers, adds a little tang. Okay, we have a little bit of Dijon, a little bit of Worcestershire. Now don't let this scare you, this is anchovy paste. I will tell you that it doesn't take on an anchovy flavor. And when people at the restaurant ask us what is in your homemade remoulade sauce, and I tell them anchovies, they almost look at me like, are you sure? But you need a little bit in there to add. It mainly adds a salty flavor, but it won't overwhelm the sauce. You won't even know it's in there. Just a little bit of tomato paste, and that kind of tinges it with a nice color and adds just a tad sweetness. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix all this up. This sauce can be used for grilled fish, fried fish, scallops. It's really good for anything. Of course, we're making it for our crab cakes, but it's versatile. All our flavors are combined now. Now, the thing about this is you need to let it chill for several hours to let all the flavors combine. So if you decide to make this recipe, this is not one of the recipes that you can sort of do at the last minute. You need to plan time for this recipe since you have to chill your crab cakes and you have to chill your remoulade sauce. So you need to kind of plan that into your day if you're serving them for the evening or for lunch. So let's get this chilled up a bit, and when we come back and everything's chilled, we're going to start to saute our crab cakes. The crab cakes are nice and chilled. Now it's time to saute. So we're going to bring them over to the stove. Now our oil has been heating a little bit. You want to start out with olive oil. Some people do them in butter, but the butter tends to burn easily. I like doing them in olive oil. Okay, so the oil should be heated. And we're going to drop that in. You see how it's starting to sizzle? That's how you know your oil. I've already sprayed our pan with a little bit of olive oil spray. Again, you need a nice large pan with a lot of surface area so you can fit them. Now this is one of those things where you really need to keep your eyes on the crab cakes because the pan might start to get hot and smoky, then put your heat down a little bit. You sort of have to watch your product. Every stove is different, so it's important that you know what it's supposed to look like. Now you do about 3 to 4 minutes on either side, and then you know they're done. See how they're bubbling over here? And you can see the sides over there are starting to brown. Now it's time to flip. It's been about 4 minutes, and there we go. Now, sometimes this will happen. If you see that one is not quite where it should be, flip it back because not every oven cooks evenly. That's why it's important to look at your product and know what it should look like. Even though that's cooked 4 minutes, for some reason it didn't get as brown. So here we have our crab cakes. You can serve them for lunch on a roll or as an entree. We do that at the lobster roll both ways. And crab is a really healthy food to eat because it's low in fat and calories and it's high in protein. Enjoy.